I had to do that because, growing up in Italy, when I first moved over there, it was, I didn't speak Italian. I didn't have any friends. I had the game of basketball, and through sport and playing soccer, I was able to make friends and build connections. But it was a lot of time spent alone. And when I came back to the States, I wasn't the most athletic kid. I was really scrawny, like really, really skinny, and had like major knee issues because I was growing. So I was the dorky kid with high socks and big old knee pads.
What if I told you that one of basketball's greatest players was forged not by natural talent, but by psychological warfare against himself? That behind every clutch shot, every championship, every legendary moment was a man who literally rewired his brain to eliminate fear, doubt, and limitation.
I just wanted to take the challenge. He's really developed into being a great player in this league, and as he goes, their team goes. So I figured I might as well take it.
Today, we're diving deep into the psychology of Kobe Bryant. Not just what he accomplished, but how his mind worked differently than everyone else's. We'll explore the mental frameworks that separated him from other superstars, the psychological techniques he used to perform under pressure, and the dark side of perfectionism that both created and nearly destroyed him. By the end of this video, you'll understand why Kobe wasn't just a basketball player. He was a master psychologist who turned mental training into an art form. And trust me, the insights we uncover will change how you think about success, pressure, and the price of greatness.
Because we were also young. I was 6. My sister Shay was 7. My eldest Sheree was 8. And so we were just starting elementary school, basically. And so our parents just immersed us in Italian culture. So we were just surrounded by Italian kids. We were just learning the language as they were.
Most people see Kobe's childhood in Italy as an interesting footnote, but psychologically, it was the foundation of everything. Picture this: a 6-year-old black kid moving from school to school, unable to speak the language, completely isolated from his peers. While other kids were building social connections, Kobe was building something else, an internal fortress. Psychology calls this adversarial growth, when extreme challenges in childhood create abnormal mental resilience. Kobe didn't just survive being an outsider, he weaponized it. Basketball became his universal language. While alone for hours, he wasn't just practicing shots, he was programming his brain through repetition. Neuroscience shows us that isolation plus intense focus creates deeper neural pathways. Kobe was literally rewiring his brain's relationship with pressure and performance. When he returned to Philadelphia at 13, he faced the same pattern: rejection, isolation, difference. But now he had a superpower. He thrived when others rejected him. Most people seek approval. Kobe had trained his brain to find fuel in disapproval. This is why, years later, he could walk into an NBA locker room as a teenager and declare he wouldn't be punked by anybody. His brain had already categorized being an outsider as a competitive advantage, not a weakness.
My name is Kobe Bryant. I'm 17 years old, and I've been lucky enough to live not only in different parts of the United States, but Europe as well.
Here's where Kobe gets really interesting psychologically. Most elite athletes have talent plus work ethic. Kobe had something different, what psychologists call systematic obsession. He didn't just work hard, he engineered obsession as a repeatable system. Take his famous 4 a.m. workouts. Everyone focuses on the time, but the psychology is deeper. By training when everyone else was asleep, Kobe was creating what's called competitive separation anxiety in his opponents. While they slept, his brain was calculating, I'm getting better. They're not. His 400 shot practice minimum wasn't about the shots. It was about training his brain to never accept good enough. Each shot was programming his neural network to expect perfection as the baseline, not the goal. But here's the genius part. Kobe studied his own psychology. He identified his mental weaknesses and created systems to eliminate them. Struggled with pressure, he'd create higher pressure situations in practice. Worried about criticism, he'd deliberately put himself in hostile environments. The Mamba mentality wasn't just confidence, it was applied sports psychology. Kobe essentially became his own mental performance coach, constantly hacking his brain's response to adversity. Most athletes try to manage pressure. Kobe did something revolutionary. His neural pathways interpreted them as opportunities. Remember those 4 air balls against Utah as a rookie? A normal brain would file that as trauma. Kobe's brain filed it as data. He studied the footage, analyzed his decision-making, and reprogrammed his response system. By his second season, that same pressure environment felt familiar, almost comfortable. This is why his clutch shooting was so legendary. His brain had been conditioned through thousands of high-pressure repetitions to actually perform better when stakes were highest. While other players' stress hormones would spike, Kobe's would regulate. He'd literally trained his nervous system to treat Game 7 like a practice session. The 81-point game against Toronto is a perfect example. Most players would feel pressure to share the ball, to not appear selfish. Kobe's brain bypassed those social concerns entirely. He trained himself to see only the optimization problem, how to score most efficiently for team success. This wasn't selfishness, it was psychological clarity. His brain had eliminated the noise that limits most athletes' performance in crucial moments. Here's where Kobe's psychology gets complex. Early in his career, his brain was optimized for individual excellence, not team dynamics. The feuds with Shaq weren't personality clashes, they were psychological incompatibilities. Shaq's brain operated on natural talent plus enjoyment. Kobe's brain operated on systematic optimization plus obsession. Neither was wrong, but they were literally thinking about basketball in different languages. The fascinating part is how Kobe's brain evolved. After 2004, he recognized that his individual optimization system wasn't producing team championships. So he did something incredible. He studied leadership psychology and retrofitted his mental framework. He began analyzing his teammates like he analyzed opponents. What motivated Pau Gasol? How could he trigger better performance from Lamar Odom? He essentially became a team psychologist, understanding that influence required understanding each person's unique mental wiring. The gold medal moment with Pau is brilliant psychology. Kobe understood that Pau needed confidence more than criticism. By placing that medal in his locker, he was hijacking Pau's motivation system, creating internal drive instead of external pressure. This evolution shows Kobe's ultimate psychological weapon, the ability to recognize when his mental systems weren't working and completely rebuild them. Most people's brains are wired to avoid pain. Kobe reprogrammed his to seek it out. This wasn't masochism, it was strategic psychological conditioning. Playing through the broken finger, the ankle injuries, the various ailments, his brain wasn't ignoring pain, it was recontextualizing it. Pain became information, not limitation. His neural pathways processed physical discomfort as just another variable to optimize around. The Achilles injury was different though. For the first time, Kobe's brain encountered a problem it couldn't optimize away. The psychology of aging athletes is fascinating. Their brains are still programmed for peak performance, but their bodies can't execute the commands. Watch footage of late career Kobe. You can see the psychological struggle in real time. His brain was sending the same signals that produced 5 championships, but his body was providing different feedback. The frustration wasn't about basketball, it was about the disconnect between mental and physical systems. The Dear Basketball letter reveals this perfectly. It wasn't just retirement, it was Kobe's brain finally accepting that optimization has limits. For someone whose entire identity was built on mental supremacy over physical limitations, this acceptance required incredible psychological courage. Here's what most people miss about Kobe's final season. It wasn't about basketball anymore. His brain had shifted from performance optimization to legacy creation. Every game became a psychological gift to fans who had watched him evolve for 2 decades. The 60-point finale wasn't just a great game, it was Kobe's brain demonstrating one final time that could triumph over physical reality. With no lift in his legs, shooting on pure muscle memory and mental conditioning, he proved that psychological programming could temporarily override physical limitations. But the real legacy isn't the championships or the points. It's the psychological blueprint he left behind. Kobe showed that greatness isn't just about talent. It's about the systematic mental programming of excellence. The Mamba mentality became popular because it gave people a framework for psychological transformation. It said, you can reprogram your brain's relationship with pressure, failure, and limitation. You can train your mind like you train your body. Kobe Bryant wasn't just a basketball player. He was a psychological pioneer who proved that the mind is the ultimate performance enhancer. His journey from isolated kid to championship winner to global icon shows us that mental frameworks can be built, tested, and refined just like any other skill. The question is, what mental programming are you running? Are you optimizing for growth or comfort? Are you training your brain to see pressure as fuel or as a threat? Are you studying your own psychology like Kobe studied his? If this deep dive into the psychology of greatness gave you new insights, smash that like button and subscribe for more explorations into the minds of legendary performers. Drop a comment telling us which psychological principle surprised you most and what mental framework you're going to experiment with next. Remember, champions aren't born with different brains, they just program them differently. What are you going to program yours for? Thanks for diving deep with us. Until next time, keep optimizing that mindset.